creative practices of Black disabled memory.
Hi, my name's Azure D. Osborne-Lee. My pronouns are he and they. I am a fat black queer and trans hottie, currently wearing my hair braided back in a protective style because it's winter here right now, and hats must be worn outside. I have on a forest green headband, some funky cat eye glasses, and my usual all black attire. And as I texted Kayla before this, I shaped up my facial hair a little bit and put on a little lip gloss for y'all. Um, I'm here because I got an email. No, because I work in disability justice and arts and et cetera, et cetera. So I submitted, and we're here to talk about the intersections of disability, arts, race, gender, sexuality, all of it, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna pass the mic to Kayla. Bloop.
Hey everyone, this is Kayla Hamilton speaking. I use she and they pronouns. I am a darker skinned Black person with locks that are cut into a bob. It's quite recent. I am wearing red framed glasses. I got an astrology reading about a year ago, and the astrologer suggested that I wear red to activate my creativity. So I went to Warby Parker and got red glasses because these are the most consistent things that I wear every day. I have on silver hoop earrings. I'm also noticing that I have a shiny forehead today, and I'm not for sure if that's my oil sheen or my lighting. I am wearing a blue sweater, and I am in my kitchen in the South Bronx. And I am an artist by way of dance, choreography, teaching, consulting, and I'm happy to be here as well.
This is Azure. I just noticed that I did not mention that I have a virtual, aka fake background of a wall of purple hydrangeas, because because it's cute. And yeah, Kayla, I think it's your lighting. Now, I will say that you are blessed to have full lighting in your kitchen. At least two of the lights in my kitchen are burnt out, and I've been playing the "Is it worth asking maintenance to come in here and do something about it" game because I don't like just random men in my house. So we gonna see. But it was one light burnt out. Now it's two lights. So yeah, we gonna see.
How
We gonna
many
see.
lights? This is Kayla. How many lights are there?
There are four, so half of the
Oh,
lights are burnt
ooh,
out.
ooh, okay,
But it's
okay,
at a diagonal, so I feel like it's like moody right now.
okay.
Moody. It's not quite struggle lighting. It's still moody, but it's on the way to the struggle. So speaking of the struggle, we're here. There were some questions that I had looked at some point, so I'm gonna pull them up just so I can have a point of reference. Um, yeah, so I was actually just at Movement Research today, a little bit earlier, um, working with the artists there. That was lovely. We had a
Hmm.
nice chat about audio description. Really, what we did today was they asked me to talk about audio description, my work as an audio describer, what it entails, and then they asked me some questions about access, and we just had a nice conversation. And then we had mac and cheese that Maya ordered for us. So we collectively ate mac and cheese after we spent about 2 hours talking about audio description, and it was a lovely time.
This is Kayla. I love that.
Yeah. So the thing that I love about showing up and working with disabled artists in particular is that I never quite know what's going to happen, but I usually feel comfortable, right? Like comfortable
Yeah,
with what's happening. People are in the flow. So I came in. Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I almost timed out outside because didn't we say the weather was disrespectful? And I
we
was standing
did.
outside. I was like, well, the window for standing outside is shorter. But once I got in, we did a COVID test. Everybody wore their masks, and then we just started talking about our access needs and what our plan was. And so we started from the place of where is everybody in their bodies? What is it that you feel like you need? What is our capacity individually and as a group?
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's always so nice, particularly when you're feeling like you're running a little bit slower, which was
Yeah.
sort of everybody. And I said that's because it's deep winter and we shouldn't be outside at all. So I just want to say, like, that's one of the things I really love about being in a space with you and other disabled artists is really being able to show up as who I am and find my way into the rhythm of the work.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So we got these questions here,
Okay.
and the first one is, what is a little known example of Black disabled brilliance? Do you have any meditations on that, Kayla?
Little known example. Little known example. Mm, y- I'm, what's coming to me is the little known, and because I'm inside of it, I'm like, it's all known.
Mm,
But what I,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
um, I'm thinking about maroonage, right?
mm,
How like long before we like use terms like access and inclusion and just ways in which um, Black disabled embodiments uh, collectivized outside of institutional spaces feel little known
mm,
to me.
mm.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead, go
mean,
ahead.
I think the question is little known to who, right?
Mhm.
Like, right? Because like we're in it, as you said, right? So but a question that came up today was in the Q&A that I referenced earlier was, is it possible to have too much access? And I was like, I haven't seen it yet. There can be competing access needs for sure.
Mhm.
But I don't know if there can be too much access. I mean, sure, anything's possible, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this is Kayla. And even being inside of it now, I'm not necessarily know if I know like a lot of information about things that came before me
Mm,
because things have been so undocumented.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Uh, like because it didn't live in like formal archives or policy language or now I feel like this stuff really lived in like, kitchen spaces and people's living rooms and in dance studios and
mm-hmm.
probably church basements, like in other spaces. So even though I'm inside of it, like I still feel like there is little known, even to myself.
Yeah. So as you know, I have just started this PhD. I'm like a baby PhD candidate that's in archiving for disability dance and access aesthetics. So um, right now I'm thinking about the archival portion, right? Like, what does
Hmm.
it mean to archive this work? Um, I'm also thinking about like internal knowledge and external knowledge, right? So things that are knowledge that is for us and then knowledge that is for other people. And I think
Mhm.
about that with documenting as well. And like, I think part of the way that we talk about this in like pop culture or like on the internet is like recipes, right? Like we're losing recipes or like what's the
Mhm.
recipe, you know? Um,
Mhm.
which is kind of funny, but I actually was listening to, I think, a podcast one time or an older radio broadcast, and they were talking about recipes. And then they had this little thing at the end that said, if you're interested in this recipe, send a self addressed stamped envelope to this address. And I was like, remember self addressed stamped envelopes? Like, if you wanted a recipe, you had to find a cookbook, or this is all, you know, this is pre internet, right?
Mhm.
If you wanted to know something, a lot of times you would have to send an envelope somewhere, and then a librarian or an archivist would send you the information back.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think about that as the sort of like journey of like this language that we use now, like, oh, we're losing recipes. Yeah, and I also think about how not everything is meant to last forever, right? Like I think that one of the things that I really value about myself and my community is like the ingenuity, right? The like sort of making new processes, constantly responding to need, and looking at resources and figuring it out. Um,
Mhm.
and so I
Mhm.
think that's also part of the reason why, you know, that information might not be saved
Mhm.
somewhere is because we're constantly having to make little, it's sort of like making little companies or little performance pieces, right? Things that are just
Mhm.
ephemeral to meet our needs and the needs of people in our community.
Mhm. 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 Totally. Um, there's something that you said. Oh, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
Yeah, yeah. I also, when I think about Black disabled brilliance, I think a lot about care work.
Mm.
Um, I've been thinking about care work a lot,
Yeah.
the way that disabled people care for each other and the way that we care for community. But also, when we think about disability, a lot of times we're talking about labor, right? And the ability to perform labor or not perform labor, or engage in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people often do not add the lens of blackness, right? Like black people, our history in this country has never been one of like not being able to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just because you disabled don't mean you're not going to work. You're going to do something, right? And so I think about the really foundational work that disabled Black people have done that has built up our like families, community, and the country.
Totally.
You
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah, that's how I was like, these things are happening so frequently and in spaces that are not visible,
Hmm.
that literally are sustaining us as people. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Like when we talk about grandma or mima, you know, big
Yeah.
mama, we're talking about most likely disabled women, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Black
Mm-hmm.
disabled women who are responsible for childcare, you know, cooking the food, right? Also, like keepers of knowledge, right? The family Bible that has the whole like family tree in it, all of that, right? Um, and that kind of labor has traditionally been undervalued, but it's really the thing that keeps everything going.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, but there's something about it. It's like not it's there's nothing about it. Well, I don't know because I don't know everybody and how they're coming, but there's nothing like accidental or heroic about it. It's like
Hmm.
it's uh it's what is the word? Like infrastructure. It is like just a way of doing and being that
Hmm.
like what does it take in order for us to be together?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's built collectively.
Yeah. So. I think about that as like the making and curating of space, right? Um, Wherever we are
Mm-hmm.
and in whatever minutes we can hold on to.
Mm-hmm. That's a good segue into our other question. How much more fulfilling and robust is a future that includes Black disabled voices?
Well,
Okay.
for me, extremely, right?
Uh,
What about you?
uh, I just,
Mm,
uh, it's more real, more humane, more
mm,
sustainable.
mm,
We've already mentioned it, like we bring a depth of knowledge to like adaptation and pacing and interdependence and care,
mhm,
that when those things are included, success is like not about speed or
mm,
about like a destination or extraction.
mhm,
Uh, it's like about more like about like longevity and
mhm.
integrity.
Yeah,
Uh,
sustainability.
Values are
Mhm,
more clear. I think values are often present, but they're not named.
mhm.
And then it feels like I just think about my time as a teacher. It's like life becomes something that we can like live inside of and not just think about surviving.
Sure. So can you unpack that a little bit, or like what do you mean by thinking about your time as a teacher? Like, did you feel like you didn't have enough time then?
Um, just thinking about like uh how things were unnamed and
Mm,
that only if we named them and addressed them, uh for the not necessarily for the kids, the adults who are supporting the kids,
mm,
that a lot more could happen, right? We were trying to put things into like neat little categories or boxes,
mhm,
when there was more creative juice that could be, gotten out of those things to like help X student,
mhm, mhm,
right? But because we were like forced into these,
mhm.
the narrowing, right? And not the expansion.
Yeah, so that to me speaks of like flexibility, right? And understanding that what what you've built up can be changed, right? Or even if you didn't build it up, right? Like nothing is permanent and for forever. Um, and I feel like sort of the people in power like don't want us to know that, right?
Mhm.
That like
Right,
just
right.
because y'all been doing it this way doesn't mean it's the best way or that we have to continue doing it this way.
Yeah,
Like, what if we didn't?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, no, I know Black disabled people have always been there and always will be there. I think that for me in this question, the word that is really holding it is the voices, right? So
Hmm.
like, hmm, I think everybody can benefit from hearing from folks that haven't been heard from as much, particularly when those people have so much wisdom and richness to offer, right? Um, that doesn't mean everybody's going to like it, right? I don't like listening to everybody. I'm sure not everybody likes listening to me. But I do think it's really important for people to have the space to express themselves. And I talk about this when I teach theater, right? Like every culture makes theater, right? Every body makes theater. And that means that people I don't agree with and don't like can also have their theater. Now that doesn't mean I want to go to their theater. You know, you can do that over there and I'm gonna do my thing over here. I think that
Mhm.
we should both have the space, right? And the problem is when the distribution of resources is not equal, when people don't get an opportunity to express themselves. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm always looking at, particularly when we're looking at social justice, I'm looking at distribution of resources as a sort of concrete way to to change things.
Mhm. This is Kayla. When you say voices, how are you how are you using the term voices?
I mean, I'm responding to the prompt, and I feel like,
Like a literal voice, like our voice, like how it, yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm probably thinking more literally, right? Like being able
Okay.
to express one's
Okay.
views, but also one's needs, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh, hmm. Which I think means, well, I think we both know that listening is a skill, and listening is work. So it's
Mhm.
it's not just about being able to express oneself, but also being listened to,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, yeah, just listening to your response, it made me, yeah, even like how we both kind of interpreted the question differently,
Mm,
right? Which is why I asked. I'm like, oh, for me, like voice is like my body, my presence, my
mm,
energy,
mm,
right? Which could include my voice, like my voice.
mm,
Um, but like my entry, like when I heard voices, I'm like my body,
mm.
my presence, my
Okay,
ah,
dancer Kayla.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm like, okay, so this is like, uh, uh, which actually to go back to, was it another question? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, uh, it, by having the conversation, we can, I don't know. I don't. Hold on. Sneeze. Hold on.
Salute.
Thank you. Hold on.
Look at your little cute sneeze. Okay,
Okay.
salute.
Thank you. Um, yeah, to be able to ask questions uh is something
I'm sorry. I like
just
whenever
to be able to ask questions and period. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm thinking a lot about like ancestry and like history, and so I'm going back, sort of imagining each generation of my family, and like inevitably at some point get to the point where, folks are enslaved, and I'm just thinking about the ability to ask questions. I mean, I will also say I imagine you had an upbringing that was somewhat similar to me. And asking questions is not necessarily invited from little black children, particularly little black girl children, right? Like anytime I watch a horror movie, like honestly anything with little white kids in it, and they always asking so many questions, I'm like, yo, y'all always asking so many questions. Like they're like, get in the car. What's going on? Who's that man? What's happening? What? And I'm like, yo, I was not allowed to ask questions like that as a child. I was told to stay out of grown folks' business. And so I learned pretty quickly that the easiest way to find out information that I wanted, again, hello, this is pre internet. I know you're probably watching this on the internet, but keep in mind that we are both in our 40s. So childhood was before the internet, was just to be like quiet somewhere, usually with a book, and just sit in the corner with a book and listen to grown folks' business. I was very good at it. The number of times they'd be like, Azure, get out of here, right? Like after gossiping for 15, 20 minutes, right? So,
Yeah. So yeah.
so yeah, I would say my process actually, a lot of my processes as an audio describer, as a dramaturg, etc., involves asking questions. Um, but like, who gets to ask questions is a great question. It's a great
No,
question.
I'm like for real. I'm like, oh, what do you mean by voices? Because I'm I'm noticing, picking up on something different, asking questions of curiosity. Um, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, but I will also say, I'm also saying this a lot, that I think the being told that or it somehow being expressed that little black children are not allowed to ask a lot of questions, a lot about the upbringing of little black children, particularly in the South, has to do um, with keeping them safe, right? Because I'm just imagining my like enslaved ancestors, being told to do something and then be like, "Excuse me, what do you mean by?" Like you can't ask no whole lot of questions about how to
question.
get something done. You just need to figure it out and do it. Um, and I feel like there's also something to that with Black disabled genius and Black disabled survivorship, right? Because a lot of what I do is doing stuff and not asking permission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you start asking permission, excuse me, can I put this over there? Can I do this X, Y, and Z? Your avenues of whatever get shut down. So creating these little systems in moments that can also be folded up, right? You fold that up, move it out the way. Nope, that was never there, right?
Mm-hmm. 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 Um, mm, yeah. Yeah. I think I'm good with that question.
Okay. So, hmm, I feel like the next three questions are just sort of like different versions of that question. Oh, here we go. For those of you who are new to this topic, can you share examples of Black disabled genius that may be less obvious? That was in the chat for those of you who can't see the chat. um,
Examples.
well, okay, so I've been thinking a lot about one of my aunts who passed when I was in high school. She's my good cousin's mother. My good cousin, that's another way of saying my favorite cousin. We were very close in age. So whenever we were in the same city, we would be together. I had what some of you may be familiar with, a little cousin pod. So that's the cousins that are close together in age. We all be running around together. We'd also get our little butt whoopings collectively, right? Collective punishment, collective treats, because we were all in the same age group. So, my good cousin's mother was disabled, as long as I can remember her. And my cousin has been telling me more about her mother and how she was the eldest girl, and she really felt like she had to cook all the feasts, right? Like the holiday meals. Um, she was a wheelchair user. Uh, who was definitely on a fixed income, right? Didn't have much money. Uh, and yet there was still sort of this expectation that she would, cook all the food for the holidays. And that was something she managed to pull off. The older I get, the more I realize how much work making the holidays is. Uh, my family of origin can attest that I did run up on every single one of them this year. And demand to know what they were going to contribute because holiday making is not just women's work. Um, yeah, I'm just thinking a lot about care for themselves, care for other people, and also figuring out how to make things work in an inaccessible world, right? Even, if that means sending somebody to the store with a list and a way to pay for things, right? Like all of that pre DoorDash, pre Grubhub, pre Instacart. I feel like that's genius.
Mm-hmm. This is Kayla speaking. Hmm. Things that come to the surface are taking creative risk, um, in spaces where um, the creative risk in artistic work. I'm thinking of needing um, uh, something external, like an assistive device, and creating one with paper and making your own pinholes so that you can do what you got to do in that moment to get by.
Mm.
I'm thinking about turning on lights in an apartment with the fly swat because that is going to be the easiest thing for you to turn it on. I'm thinking of um, the uh, ways in which pausing to listen to one's body before responding. I'm thinking of checking in with each other just to say hello and that I'm thinking of you with nothing else. I'm thinking of speaking up with my voice, this voice, uh, when there's something, uh, when access needs are not being met in the space, that could benefit everyone in the room, not just yourself, when it's uncomfortable. Those are some of the things that I'm imagining, uh, both like personal, like both like internal and external. Again, naming that these things come in like transitionary spaces, right? Not I don't know what this gesture is, but I'm like open it up like it's like a sunshine and my chest is poking up, but like not grand
Institution.
gestures.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
not
Okay.
grand gestures.
Yeah, well, so I'm thinking about I'm thinking about my school where I am enrolled as a PhD student and how difficult it is because it's in England. I'm just reminding everybody that the context here is England. Um, Everything has to be a process, right? So if we need some chairs for this room, we got to put in a request and then we got to figure out who's going to move the chairs and who's going to
Mhm,
be accountable for the chairs and
mhm,
exactly what time you're going to be done with the chairs. And it's a whole process that's I'm not going to say the design of the process is to make everything difficult, but that is one of the outcomes. And I don't think that that outcome is unsatisfactory to some people, right?
mhm.
Whereas if I see that somebody needs a chair, I'm gonna go get the chair, or I'm gonna tell somebody to bring me a chair, or bring me a better chair, a sturdier chair, right? That you this has happened before. In one of Kayla's shows, we were gonna be standing on chairs, and I said, "Now I'm thick. Go find me a chair that's not gonna collapse under me." Right? I said, "Find me a sturdy chair," and they said, "What does that mean?" And I said, it's like, come on now, don't set me up for failure, right? So I think being able to see the need or sense that there is a need and ask about it, and then meet that need based on what we got in our bag, or using the grit, the gall, the gumption, the audacity to just meet the need, right?
Yeah, this is Kayla. But I think when we are centered, um, the design is different, right?
Hmm.
It's like not about adjusting based on like accommodation, It's like
Mm,
the design of the space in itself has shifted,
I
but
agree.
we are centered, right? So like the ways in which the thing is built has now shifted.
I completely
Like,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think it makes well, no, I know that it makes a difference who you ask to set up a system, right? So, for example, to set up a room, if you ask a disabled person to be in charge of setting up a space, it's going to be different than an abled person, right? Um, One of the things I like to say is do not have your skinniest person set up the chairs for your talk, for your show, whatever, because they're going to set the chairs up most likely based on their body size and their comfort. And that, like, that's their world. That's how they understand the chairs. And then I come behind them and I move all the chairs with my hips, right? Because the chairs are too close together. Um, there's not enough egress. Maybe there's not a center aisle, right? And there's not space for people to transfer, right? When I ask about the chairs, I'm asking how wide are the chairs? Do the chairs have arms? Do we have chairs without arms? Do they are they folding chairs, et cetera, right? All of these things. The entire container is different. I will say that as a theater maker and a theater professional, I'm at a point where I'm very frustrated with my home industry, theater American theater, which is part of the reason why I'm always in somebody else's department. You'll find me a lot in dance spaces. Um, yeah, I want to be in a space where there's enough room for me, and I don't want to have to constantly be fighting to express myself as an artist, right? Like having to wear the like disability advocate hat to to even get in the space.
Hmm. Hmm. And not to go, this is Kayla, to go back to like, yeah, yep, yep. Oh, no, no. Mm-mm. It wants to come, it's not coming.
This is my cat, cream cheese. Um, yeah. So she wanted a little attention. She got it. Now she's gonna go somewhere else. Um, so I've been heartened by the creation of programs for disabled artists, for disabled people. I've been seeing programs pop up. Now that often has coincides with funding, right?
Mhm.
So this is not our first cycle or rodeo, right? Funding shifts and then programs pop up and then they disappear. Um, can you talk a little bit about the what you've seen with the creation of more programs or resources for disabled people and disabled artists in particular?
Can I talk more about, can you repeat the question? More about,
Yeah, the programs and resources popping up for disabled artists.
mm, this is Kayla. I don't, outside of the ones that I am personally involved in, I don't know of any other ones that are popping up. Sorry.
Mhm. But I feel like you've been involved in the creation of some
Mhm.
programs and the
Yeah.
stewardship of programs. So that's
Mhm.
kind of what I'm asking about, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say there's like a whole lot,
But okay,
right?
I don't know. I don't
I'm not gonna say
know.
there's like a whole lot because I feel like either you're in the space or I'm in the space or we're like, hey, oh, we're both in the space, right? Like those
Hmm.
are the spaces that exist. But I would love to hear a little bit more about, your involvement in creating opportunities or stewarding opportunities for disabled folks.
Yeah. This is Kayla. Some things to lift up that uh the programs that I have supported, like Shepherd, have been collective endeavors.
Mm,
Um, they have not been solely like of Kayla Hamilton's design.
hmm
They've been
hmm
designed with a group of other disabled artists. Um, I will say that there is uh, there needs to be more, more variety, um, of opportunities for disabled artists. I mean, I'm speaking, of course, in like dance space, right? But I'm pretty sure it goes across the board.
Mm,
I can just talk about what I know. Um, that the ones that I'm a part of are designed with a particular value, with a particular um, like concept in mind, which that is just one of like many that I feel like sh should. I don't know what I who says Kayla says should, but like who that could be more possible, more options.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
and then I say that um mm, I guess the last thing I'll say about it, it's been um a a um a, a learning to include uh the organizers, right? The conveners access with the artist access.
mm,
That we are collectively creating these opportunities together.
mhm.
And I feel like that's learning for us and learning for the artists as well. That like
Yeah.
humans make organizations, right? And then
Mhm,
and the organization does like we have a responsibility and accountability to each other.
mhm.
That just because we are um, holding this container doesn't exclude us from our own needs, as you know what I mean, as well as human
Yeah.
beings, as disabled artists who are also making it happen.
Yeah, well, and I think that's about like changing the system or the organization, right? Like changing everything, right? Instead of having like the disabled people be in this little container, right? Like those are the people who have the needs that, that
Hmm.
we need to meet, and we need to ask them about like what if everything were shifted so that we recognize everybody's needs. Um, Also, I will say as someone who does a lot of service work, because I'm service oriented.
Hmm.
I'm good at it and I'm multi talented, multifaceted. I will say that it does feel often like I don't get asked to present my work, right? I'm not given opportunities to present my work as an artist, particularly as a playwright, right? I'm asked to uh, read applications, look at budgets, right? Audio describe,
Yeah. Hmm.
mentor, teach, run workshops, etc. And I do love those things, right? But sometimes I ask the question, when do I get to be an artist?
Yeah.
Acknowledging that there is artistry in everything, right? But
Sure.
and um and I can see that people love for me to be of service.
Hmm.
There's that as well.
Right.
So that's what I would say. Especially, yeah, I'm thinking about, once the programs have been exhausted, right? Then what? Um, Especially as someone who's been in New York City for yike. This year it'll be 17 years.
Hmm.
This year it'll be 17 years, and so I've been here aging, and sort of watching the programs for young people pass me by. Now, I will say that I look younger than I am. Yes, I'm aware of that. But what that also means is that people send me programs for people under 30, and I'm like, I am not. Yes, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not. Now, don't be looking like that just because you know how old I am. But um, this is why I have to have my college students call me Professor Osborne-Lee, because they think I'm like 28 or whatever. Yeah, but the when the special programs, right? You're no longer emerging or like under 30
Sure,
or like whatever
sure.
the thing is, right? Like then what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then what? Um, but like oppression still applies, right?
Yep.
So I feel personally like I'm kind of stuck in between emerging and mid-career. Um, and also the next generation is coming and they're looking to me um, for guidance, mentorship, etc. And I'm like, do I know what I'm doing? Do I know what's going on out here? I don't know. I'm just doing stuff. I just be doing stuff, right?
So that
I,
means you know what's going on. This is
I mean, I
you know
guess
what
I
you're
do.
doing.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm willing to lead. One thing, at this point, I'm willing to lead,
Oh, there's light. Okay.
but okay, mood lighting.
Well,
Oh,
I just noticed I was getting a little dark as the sun is starting to go
yeah,
down.
the sun is going. There's a window in front of me. Yeah, I was just describing today how I got into audio description, and a lot of it involved me being on Facebook and just saying yes to things. I mean, that's how I
Hmm.
started audio describing with you. You had put up a post on Facebook. Do you remember that?
Hmm.
Yeah, and then like that's how I got into the PhD as well. I mean, that's not how I got in, but that's how I found out about it, is that it was posted on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I know Kinetic Light. Oh, I went to that school. I guess I'll just, ask some questions, click around. Um, and then next thing you know, you're over 40 over here doing something, people asking you for your expertise.
Indeed.
So I am just making this up right now, by the way.
Okay.
Genius. What is your wish for 2026?
I pulled a tarot card this
Uh-huh.
morning and my it reminded me of this question. My wish, no, what I'm going to do in 2026 is release some of my self-sabotaging behavior and have more compassion for myself.
Okay. We love to see it.
What's your wish for 2026?
Oh, goodness gracious. That's classified. No, let's see. It's still early. It's still early. I am in the process of
Come on, Aquarius rising.
experiencing more gratitude for and appreciation for the life that I have curated for myself.
Hmm.
Because it took a long time to get here, it took a lot of work to be here, and also I don't have to be here doing this, right? I have choices. Y'all, I got my student visa. I can move to England today, tomorrow if I wanted to. I don't want to, right? But I don't have to be here doing what I do.
Hmm.
Um, Even that, every moment where I can savor that, mm, mm, right? Um, every moment where it's about being embracing being an uppity Negro, honestly.
Uh-huh.
Every time I get to tell someone I don't work for you, it's delicious to me, right? Choosing to be in the spaces that I'm in because I want to be there or I've chosen to be there, and I can remove myself whenever I would like.
Yeah.
And that is not a freedom that my ancestors had. So that is something I'm here to enjoy.
Love. Indeed.
Hmm.
Let it be so.
Right?
Let it be so.
Ding, ding, ding.